Welcome everyone to the #1 DeFi platform. Let's go ahead and get started and talk about what has been going on with the market. So a lot of crazy things. For all those that don't know who I am, my name is John. I'm a DeFi analyst and mentor here at Decentralized Masters. Unfortunately, today, Tuesdays, Tristan doesn't join me, so I'm going to be doing this session today on my own. But regardless, to go ahead and say there's a lot of new news that have been happening all across the space. So as you see, I have quite a few articles right here, and a few other things that we could go ahead and touch on and talk about. So let's go ahead and start off as we typically do is crypto bubbles. Make sure to smash that like button, turn on post notifications if you are not on. But as we see right now, the market, a little bit of green, nothing too crazy, despite all the positive information that we've been getting with crypto these last couple of days. I mean, literally every time I wake up or I start my day, it always seems like there's some sort of big, massive news that is going on in the space. So, a lot of things to talk about, guys. One of them being CRO. I actually forgot I actually pulled that article. I don't think I actually pulled it up. Did I pull it up? I actually did. So we're going to talk about that shortly. But as we see right now, our crypto bubble is a little bit neutral all across the board. Let's go ahead and check out on the daily. Daily, a little bit more green. We do see some movers like Move up 26%, CRO up 16%. You may be wondering what's going on with CRO that has been pumping up. CRO has always been one of those tokens I've been really, really bullish on. And I think this is also going to add more fuel as to one of the reasons why you should consider CRO. Now, I'm not telling you to go ahead and buy. I'm not a financial advisor, but I'm saying go ahead and check it out. It seems like for all of you that don't know, CRO is a exchange token, very similar to Binance, very similar to Hyperliquid, and all those kind of things. CRO is Crypto.com is the platform. They are an exchange located in the US. You could actually go down to their arena, which is called the Crypto.com Arena. It used to be called Staples Center. They went ahead and bought it out during the pandemic. So Crypto.com has been on here for a while, has been compliant. And I think even now with what we're seeing with Crypto.com, this should go ahead and signal massive growth. And today, CRO is not going to be the only token we're going to be talking about. We're actually also going to be talking about AVAX. A lot of big news for AVAX as well. We've been talking about AVAX for these last couple months as well. So let's go ahead and get started. Let me try to fix my camera. Okay, I think that should be good. Alrighty, so let's go ahead and start off with the first article I want to go ahead and show you. So Trump Media stock surges on plan to work with Crypto.com to offer ETFs. You guys heard that right. So they're going to be working together for these ETFs that they're going to be launching. It seems like they're going to be launching on Crypto.com, the platform. We're going to go and see how that turns out. But as we see right here, shares of Trump Media and Technology Group surged 9% on Tuesday after the president announced on social media that their team will be collaborating with a crypto platform, and that platform is Crypto.com. So who would have ever thought, right? Who would have ever thought of these kind of news that we're getting right now? Trump working with CRO. Hopefully that pushes more for the regulation side. And talking about regulation, I have another article to go ahead and share with you. But one thing I always personally liked with Crypto.com is that Crypto.com offered a wide variety of tokens. Unlike other platforms, they're a little bit more lenient into what they would go ahead and list, specifically like those, higher riskier tokens such as meme tokens. They had a good variety of tokens on there. So I've always liked Crypto.com for that reason. It's really easy for retail to come in. If you were to tell someone, hey, buy this meme coin, and they don't know how to access DeFi, more than likely they would have been able to purchase that directly on the Crypto.com platform. So it's really good. It's a really cool platform. I personally liked it. It's always been a platform that I've liked. And they definitely have been improving. Now you could go ahead and buy, what is it called? NFTs. You could go ahead and bet on there. You could go ahead and do options trading, crypto options trading. If you thought crypto wasn't volatile enough, now you have options that you could go ahead and trade with. So Crypto.com has actually grown a lot. I wouldn't be surprised if they shortly will be also implementing stocks in the future, but I think that'd be really, really cool. But yeah, what do you guys think about this? How do you guys feel about crypto.com offering ETFs? I think it's a really good way to, bring in retail and get retail excited when it comes to this. You guys know kind of my outlook when it comes to this whole entire thing that's going on with this cycle. But ultimately, um, we still have DeFi. So also know that we still have a lot of opportunities there. But I also wanted to go ahead and share this one right here. And I'm not sure if any of you guys know this. I mean, this was just announced a few hours ago. But Trump backed crypto bank joins stable coin wars with a new pegged token. So you guys heard it. Trump is going to be releasing its own stable coin, and the stable coin is going to be called USD1. And guess what it's going to go ahead and be backed by? The US dollar. The US dollar and short-term US government treasuries. So what do you guys think about that? I mean, who would have ever thought? I would have never imagined in these last couple of years of crypto that we would have had a crypto president to begin with, and then a president pushing for his own stable coin. Like, it's kind of crazy. I don't know how I personally feel about it, the whole entire thing about that. But I mean, it is DeFi. Maybe they go ahead and offer some really solid returns on his stablecoin, USD1. So this is the closest, guys, we would get to a digital dollar. This is literally the digital dollar. I don't know what else you would say. I mean, it's literally backed by the dollar, basically, and government treasuries. So I think this would probably be the closest we'll get to a digital dollar. And it's pretty interesting. We'll see. I'm really more excited about the DeFi kind of things. I'm excited to see if they're going to be offering any kind of incentives to go ahead and provide liquidity for USD1. I don't know exactly what blockchain is being launched on. It does say right here that it will be going live on Ethereum and Binance. Okay, so those are the two chains. So I wish they would have done Base, but maybe over time they'll go ahead and do that. So they haven't said exactly a day when they're going to go ahead and do that by. But remember, we talked about last week, we talked about how Trump was actually talking, actually not even Trump, Trump's family was talking about with Binance about a potential partnership. And what are the odds? And now we're going to be seeing his token being on the Ethereum and BNB chain, which BNB is Binance tokens chain. So what are the surprises there, guys? I don't think there's any at all. For all of you that might not know, basically what he's saying to this and the reason why he thought it was a great idea to launch a stable coin is because most of these stable coins, I wouldn't say they're not actually backed by real assets, but they've actually made a lot of money. USDT being one of the first ones, and then USDC, which was created by the platform Circle. So I'm pretty sure it's one of the ways to go ahead and capitalize on making more money, but you guys could definitely go ahead and look more into it. I mean, there's not really much, I would say personally. I think this was probably one of the biggest ones that I wasn't personally expecting. And also Ripple, when they went ahead and announced their stablecoin back in December. So I'm also expecting, for all of you that are XRP maxis and XRP holders, I do expect XRP having some sort of liquidity pools near the future. You all know in our private community, we've looked at a few. There's probably only 2 to 3 platforms at the moment. Yields are not too impressive, but I'm sure over time, as time goes on, maybe the next 3 to 6 months, we could be finding some really good yields on the Ripple network for all of you that are XRP holders. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I'm definitely looking forward to this stable coin. Hopefully they offer some pretty good yields. USD1, what do you guys think? Let me know down below what your thoughts are in regards to this. This is literally the digital dollar. I don't know what else to call it at this point. The next thing I wanted to go ahead and talk about, this was actually a little bit of late news. I talked about this with the private community last week, but Vanik went ahead and filed for an AVAX ETF. You know how big I've been about AVAX, very bullish about AVAX. I think AVAX has a lot of potential. It's hitting 2 narratives, the real world asset narrative and also the gaming sector. We've always talked about how AVAX is already working with the DMV of California, digitizing over 40 million plus car titles. So AVAX is already working with the DMV of California. So I'm no surprise that we're seeing an ETF now. So AVAX hitting real world assets and also hitting the gaming sector. A pretty big game called The Grid, I believe, or Off the Grid, something like that. So something around those lines. Pretty big game. It's actually launched already, and it's in PC, Xbox, and PlayStation. So as I mentioned, I don't think there's any other game that I really know that's probably high quality to that. Pretty what seems to be fun. I played it probably only once or twice, but also is now being promoted by very big streamers on YouTube on the gaming community. So AVAX hits both narratives, the gaming narrative and the real world asset narrative. Also, keep in mind, AVAX has been a token that has been out for over 3 to 4 years. So it's been out for a few years. It has survived the bear markets. And that's usually what you want to be looking for when you're adding tokens to your portfolio. What people like to call the dinosaur tokens. Those are tokens that are usually were able to make it out during the bear market, right? Which not a lot of tokens can go ahead and say that. And there's a few. XLM, we have AVAX, we have VeChain, we have XRP. Believe it or not, I'm sure all of you at one point were also XRP holders, or even XRP maxis at one point, right? But I really do believe XRP will be the narrative of this cycle. So really, really interesting to see where things are going to be heading. But let's go ahead and talk about this next other article. So you know how we just talked about AVAX, and no surprise, once again, it almost feels like I'm living in a simulation at this point. It just seems like there's always something new, something positive with crypto, yet there's really not much going on. Just like the SEC dropping the Ripple lawsuit, there's actually more information on that today. Not really much going on with the market. And now we're seeing Trump-backed World Liberty Finance buys AVAX and MNT. I don't know what MNT is, but that was a total of over $4 million. We're not going to go ahead and talk too much about, the losses. I mean, he's down 118 million currently, probably slightly a little bit less than that, probably a little bit more when this article came out. But as you see, World Liberty Finance went ahead and purchased $2 million of AVAX and MNT. But in today's talk, what we're really looking at is AVAX. And if you guys want to go ahead and get proof, I actually went ahead and followed their portfolio. And as you see right here, it's total value currently right now. It's worth over $2.38 million with over 103,000 AVAX tokens. What are you guys' thoughts down below? Or any of you holding on to AVAX? Now, isn't this kind of crazy? We see AVAX ETF. We see World Liberty buying AVAX over $2 million. Now we've seen World Liberty launching their own stable coin. Like, what else can we get next? Like, literally. Well, I do have one other article here for you guys. Well, another state in the U.S. is preparing to make another Bitcoin investment. What state do you guys think that will be? Well, it's going to be North Carolina. So now we've been seeing a few other states. I know at one point Texas was one of them. Arizona was one of them. I think maybe even Nevada. And now we're seeing North Carolina. So it's pretty good to go ahead and start seeing these adoptions of these states wanting to go ahead and purchase Bitcoin. Talking about purchasing Bitcoin, kind of off topic, not really. GameStop actually went ahead and announced that they're planning of also holding on to Bitcoin or other cryptocurrencies. So more than likely, they said they have a lot of money, cash on hand, and they're looking to go ahead and liquidate those funds or use those funds if you want to say that. They want to go ahead and use those funds into an asset class that's also going to increase over time. So if GameStop does make that purchase with Bitcoin, I'm almost imagining that GameStop short squeeze that we had last cycle happening again. But yeah, what do you guys think about that? A lot of states are now adopting cryptocurrencies. It almost feels like we were early to this, right? Keep in mind, the crypto market's only about 2 point something trillion market cap. Let's just call it 3 trillion. And the stock market's over 50 trillion. So in reality, crypto to the stock market, no one really knows what crypto is. Despite all this information that you're hearing, no one knows what crypto is. And I think this is the reason why we have a big, massive opportunity in the market that we're in. Now, let's go ahead and talk a little bit about charts, and let's go ahead and see what we could go ahead and find. Let me know down below, guys, if any of you have any questions or anything you want to touch up on. But let's go ahead and take a look at the charts. I haven't looked at charts in a while. It's been probably a day since I've seen charts, and look at that, guys. NASDAQ having that breakout. This is exactly what we were waiting for. It looks like a potential bottom is in. Now, I'm not going to be celebrating just yet as much as I want to and as positive as I really want to be, honestly. Like, I'm already completely done with this dump in the market. I'm sure all of you are as well. But really what I'm currently looking at right now is, will we be able to break this area of resistance for the NASDAQ? Now, as you see, I went ahead and drew this out last week, and it looks like it's playing out so far. Let's go ahead and delete that now. We did see this breakout on this resistance. It looks like a possible support has now been officially found. And now it looks like the NASDAQ is trying to reattempt breaking past $20,000. Now, you may ask, John, why are we talking about the NASDAQ when this is a crypto channel? So for all of you that might not know, the NASDAQ and Bitcoin do follow each other. So if I was to go ahead and compare the chart, put it right next to each other, you're going to go ahead and notice that the NASDAQ and Bitcoin move very similarly. So this is where the NASDAQ is currently at, and this is where Bitcoin is currently at. So isn't that kind of crazy how traditional finance is following Bitcoin, or Bitcoin is following traditional finance? Now, let's go ahead and take a look at how gold is doing. It looks like gold, hopefully we could get this rejection. It looks like a rejection on gold might be coming. I was talking about this last week. I mentioned this during the stream, or actually we didn't have a stream last week, only on Thursday, but we did talk about this with our private community. I mentioned that hopefully we could go ahead and start seeing a rejection coming in with gold, and why I myself was personally staying away from gold for the moment. Just because I do believe gold has to retrace down a little bit. And from the signs that we're seeing, as I mentioned, guys, for all of you that might not know also, gold usually, when gold starts to go up, usually that means people are not favoring risk on assets and vice versa. So once we start to see gold start to come down, means a lot of people are taking profit or holding off and rotating those funds into something a little bit more volatile. That could be Bitcoin, that could be altcoins, that could be, you know, stocks in the stock market, such as Tesla. Tesla dumped over like 40 to 50% these last couple months. But anyways, let's see if gold can continue to fall down. Ideally, if we could go ahead and see gold fall below 29 or even back to this $2,800 range, I think it would be a pretty good area. But let's see how things hold up. Once again, I'm not going to get too excited with that. Now, let's go ahead and talk about the dollar. Let's see what the dollar is doing. So luckily, we're getting what we want the dollar to do. So it looks like the dollar right now is experiencing some sort of resistance. Hopefully, the dollar could go ahead and continue to get rejected at this zone now. So at one point, we were wondering, will this be able to hold support, or will it go ahead and fall through? And as we saw the dollar slightly rise a little bit and now getting rejected. So what we want here for the dollar, it's an inverse correlation. Basically what it means, as the dollar goes up in value, usually Bitcoin goes down. And when it goes down, typically Bitcoin goes up. Right now, we're experiencing some sort of sell-off with the dollar. So what we're hoping for the dollar is we're hoping we come back down to this 103 and hopefully fall below it. If we could go ahead and fall below it, this would look really, really good for us, and also would be really good for us. And this would essentially mean that a near bottom is in. I mean, we're getting signs right now. I will tell you, I'm definitely feeling a lot more confident and more bullish this week than I did last week. Last week I was like, not too sure. You know, it could go up, it could go down. I mean, we're still in this same scenario that it could go up or it could go down, but we are getting some hope, which we didn't have last week. Like last week, we were hoping, we're like, hopefully this is the bottom and we don't experience any more downside. And it seems like we could now be entering a bottom. So we're getting the signs that we need, which is the NASDAQ possibly forming a bottom. We're seeing gold possibly also getting rejected. And we're also seeing the dollar possibly also breaking down support. So we're getting a lot of very bullish signs for the moment, indicating that a bottom could be near. So we're almost there, guys. Hopefully this is it. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I'm in that narrative right now where I'm like, I don't believe this is a pump, right? It's like I feel like there might be one last shakeout. I'm still going on for that narrative. So personally, I'm kind of staying out of making any major purchases when it comes to any altcoins or any other asset classes. Right now, I'm mostly just staying on stable coins and just staying on stablecoin liquidity pools. That is essentially the lower risk. I did went ahead and bought a little bit of meme coins last week. I went ahead and just did a rotation from one meme coin to another. Should have left it there because that other meme coin went up. That's how it happens. That's why usually sometimes you just leave it and not try to chase things. But I was like, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and use these funds from this meme coin, throw it onto this other coin, and buy the dip with that same money. So I haven't additionally added any more money. The only money I've added to my personal portfolio have been stable coins. And that is just to go ahead and be exposed to liquidity pools on the stable side. But right now, as we're seeing with Bitcoin, we did see that nice a little breakout. But unfortunately, Bitcoin is what seems to be having is some possible rejection, which is not good. So keep in mind, there is a lot of rejection or a lot of resistance, if you want to call it. I mean, basically rejection, resistance, almost about the same thing. But yeah, we're experiencing a lot of resistance around this zone. So ideally, once again, and this is all going to be left with what's going to happen with the NASDAQ, is will we be able to have a breakout, or will we have a breakdown? And that's currently where we're at right now. Hopefully we can go ahead and see this breakout, guys. Ideally, as I mentioned, I'm not really going to be celebrating too much for Bitcoin until we break above $90,000. Oh, snap. I didn't realize how close we actually are to that. I guess you sometimes have to go ahead and zoom out to really realize where things are at, right? I haven't really looked into the charts these last couple days, just because I don't like to go ahead and put too much attention into it until I start to see that breakout. And it looks like we're about to have that breakout. So I take that back. Bitcoin actually has been performing really well these last couple of days. Now the question is, and we're actually looking a lot more positive, guys, this potentially could have been the bottom, $75,000. And for all of you that bought the dip on the altcoins, congratulations if this is the bottom. We're going to be seeing some upside, but we are seeing right now with Bitcoin trying to go ahead and break back through. Ideally, I would want to go ahead and see Bitcoin break past this $90,000 range, ideally between this $90,000 to $92,000, and see if we could now go ahead and bounce out of that and then start approaching our next area of resistance, which is this $95,000 to $100,000 range. And then from there on, the next area of focus would be $109,000. So basically what we need to see is Bitcoin trying to break and hold above $90,000. Ideally between 89, 92K, 92,000, 92K would be the area we would want Bitcoin to go ahead and hold. for this possible reversal. And I don't know, maybe this, from what it looks like, maybe this is the inverse head and shoulders pattern that I was talking about, right? I didn't expect it to happen right here, but maybe this is the bottom, you know? So a little bit of hopium for you guys. I'm giving myself a little bit of hopium too, because realistically, we all expected the market to pump now, right? So we are definitely delayed, I would say, by a few months. But now it seems like a lot of positive things are coming out. Keep in mind, the biggest thing that's really preventing these markets from moving is the rate cuts that we need. We need the Fed to go ahead and announce them to go ahead and start cutting rates. So I think that's really going to go ahead and help us a lot. So once we start to see that initial rate cut happening, I think that would definitely go ahead and start making people feel a lot more confident, and should definitely go ahead and bring in some volatility into the market. But right now, so far, it's looking pretty positive. Like I said, we're getting almost every sign that's indicating that this could be the bottom. And I'm really hoping, you know, that's all we have at this point. The last thing, I mean, also keep in mind, even though, and this is where I want to go ahead and show you guys that this is still positive, right? Even if we do experience rejection right here, realistically, we could even go as low as $78,000. So realistically, we're actually at a very good area that even if we do get rejected right here, have a little bit of a cool down period from all the way down from 87 back down to 82, and then see the reversal, that is still an inverse head and shoulders pattern, right? So keep in mind that it's not the end of the world if we start to see this rejection here, because usually it already has tested it once. Now it has actually broken through. So if it could actually break through, that'd be a really good sign. But even if we do get rejected right here and we slightly come back down, we still have one last attempt to try to break past through that. Now, if this next attempt, we can break through it, then that's going to be a really bad sign. If we do see it come down, start getting rejected, start to see a little bit of selling pressure, see Bitcoin fall down to 82. Now it has one other attempt to try to break past that one more time. If we see that breakout, that is going to be really, really good. Essentially, that would mean that now we're going to have a pretty strong area of support here, hopefully, and that is the reversal. So realistically, there's multiple ways this thing could go. Ideally, what we don't want to go ahead and see, and this is just so you guys can have both narratives, what we don't want to go ahead and see is Bitcoin try to attempt breaking past its $90,000, or even trying to break above 87 and then start to get rejected. If we start to get rejected, as I mentioned, not the end of the world, because we saw a very similar thing right here happen. But if with that second attempt that we get right here, if we can go ahead and break through and we start to get rejected, whether it's right here or right here, then expect this to go down. And that would essentially go ahead and push us lower, and then we would be coming down like that. So right now, realistically, this narrative of us falling down, I don't think that could happen. I mean, let me rephrase my words. I'm really thinking personally, from my point of view, that we probably won't see that. And that's just based on all the positive indicators. Now, keep in mind, tomorrow we could wake up and all these positive indicators are out the door, and everything that I just said vanishes. And that's kind of the problem with technical analysis, guys, and why I recommend all of you at least watching twice a week if you can. And obviously, if you're in our private community, try to join the mentors office hours as much as you can. Stay up to date with what's going on with market conditions. And really, my goal is here with these sessions that we're having is showing you and teaching you a better understanding and way to read these charts in a very simplified manner. This is the reason why I don't really use any crazy techniques. I'm just showing you basic support and resistance. And that is really so your mind could go ahead and start picking up to what I'm saying. And over time, you're going to naturally understand where these asset classes have to go ahead and go to either go up or go down, and have a better understanding of the market overall. So right now, Bitcoin is looking good in my opinion. Like I said, there's more positive than a negative at the moment. And I'm really not going to be getting negative until realistically, like I said, we could go as low as $76,000 for Bitcoin. and still be positive. Now, we don't want to go down to there because it just minimizes those chances of us actually being correct and having it go to the upside and instead doing the opposite, which is going down. But realistically, Bitcoin could fall down all the way as low as $76,000 and still could go ahead and try to come up. So realistically, we don't want to see Bitcoin any lower than 76. Ideally, for me personally, I wouldn't want to see Bitcoin any lower than 78. But realistically, within the zone, as long as we don't fall below $76,000, we should be good. So yeah, there's actually more positive than negative. I wish I was able to tell you that things aren't looking good. I guess I don't wish that, but what I'm trying to say, I'm not trying to go ahead and sell you hopium, right? And I feel like that's what we kind of have right now. Today's market, at least today being Tuesday, I could sell you and give you a little bit of hopium. So that is a lot of very positive news, guys. I'm really liking what I'm seeing. Personally, I haven't really felt too confident in the market. Now, like I mentioned, the only thing why I'm not fully confident to say that this is the near bottom is that still keep in mind, we still have a few areas to see the market break. Specifically, as you see, the NASDAQ is also trying to climb back up. You know, not the NASDAQ. This was the Dow Jones. The NASDAQ is looking really, really good. Tristan, how's it going, my guy? He says, please deliver the hopium. I mean, that's really all we have. That's really all we have at this point is a hopium. So as you guys see for the NASDAQ, same thing, very similar to Bitcoin. We really need to go ahead and see this breakout for the NASDAQ above this $20,000. And if we could see that, this essentially would mark the bottom, and that would be amazing. So I'm hoping we see something like this. Once again, worst case scenario is we start getting rejected either where we're at, or we try to reattempt breaking past $20,000 on the NASDAQ and we start to see us fall down, which once again, even if we were to see this, guys, it's not the end of the world. That just gives us more of a buying opportunity for these dips. So realistically, for me personally, I want things to go to the moon, but realistically, I don't mind what we're seeing in the market right now. I know there's going to be a lot of volatility leading into the next FOMC meeting, which is going to be it's going to be April. So April is going to be the next FOMC meeting. After that, it's going to be May, I believe, and then June, or is it May and then June? I have to double check on that. I don't even think we have one on April. Actually, I think we do. Let me double check. FOMC meeting. Yeah, we don't have one in April. So we have one in May. So the next one is in May, 6th and 7th. And then we have June. So I'm hoping, unless this is the bottom, but I'm hoping that hopefully, worst case scenario, we do start to get rejected and we can't break past that resistance and we start getting rejected. Worst case scenario for me personally, I'm expecting probably the market to start picking up June, July, really more towards July. I'm kind of guessing that that's probably somewhere around the line where they'll probably start cutting rates between June and September, I would say. I don't know what you think, Tristan. Do you think that we could be cutting rates by then? But I think, in my opinion, no later than between, really realistically, I'm pushing more July. But between June to September, I'm pretty sure we'll see some sort of rate cuts. Worst case scenario, we see them around October. But I'm not sure if any of you guys know, but usually after summertime, there's a little bit of volatility leading into like this, I don't want to say bear market, but this volatility in the market where it's really nothing into summer. And then once summer is over, then we usually start to see the market start to pick up once again. And it's usually between July and August, what I've personally noticed. And the reason why I'm going off of that is if we actually go ahead and take a look at where Bitcoin started to really pick up, and I could go ahead and show you based on like what we saw off previous data too. So I could go as back as 2023. So right here, let me go ahead and show you. So this is Bitcoin's chart back in 2023. Man, I can't believe we're in 2025. Time flies by so fast. I remember still till this day around 2023 during this time right here. But anyways, there was a lot of fear in the market during this time, and a lot of people were questioning like, is this the bottom, or will Bitcoin continue to break out? And this was during a pretty good time, to be completely honest with you guys. This is during a pretty good time of the market. And if we see right here around July of 2023, this is where Bitcoin essentially started to find some sort of top, and a temporary top. And then we started to see Bitcoin fall from July, leading all the way to August, September, believe it or not, and October. So literally these, from July all the way to October, it was nothing but red. People were getting discouraged. People were scared. They were calling for $10,000 Bitcoin. At that time, I was very, very positive, and I was telling everyone that we were going to be seeing a breakout with a short squeeze, and that's exactly what we saw. We started to see momentum start to pick up at around October. And for me personally, I'm not sure if you guys noticed this, but August of this year, or last year, 2024, was also a moment where the market started to pick up. So I don't think there's a coincidence to any of this. I don't know if it happened once, okay, maybe twice, okay, maybe, but the third time, I don't know, right? So right here, as you see, 2023, we started to see Bitcoin start to have this breakout towards October. And that's where we had a massive little run with all the altcoins and the meme coins during that time of 2023. It was a good time to be alive, to say the least, or at least be exposed to the market of crypto. And then from this breakout from October of 2023, we do start to see Bitcoin start to stall out in 2024, which a lot of you that are in our private community were with us during this time. This time was definitely a hard one. Definitely a very hard time also mentally. It was a very hard time. I think it was getting to all of us at one point, even to me at one point. My head was kind of telling me like, hey, John, what if this is not a bull market? Like, what if this is the top? So I remember those moments in the back of my head that my subconscious mind was trying to tell me, and I'm like, nope, this is a bull market, this is a bull market, this is not a bear market. But honestly, realistically, during this time, it didn't look too well. And if you guys notice right here too, once again, it topped in July. So I just showed you twice. So Bitcoin topped in July of 2023, and then we see this top in July of 2024. And the bottom is around August in this time, and it started to really have this breakout towards October, which is right here. And if you notice, October is right here, and then the bottom was August. So I don't think there's a coincidence to this at all. Now, if we go to this and let's say essentially history repeats itself, and I was actually talking about this with Tristan, like maybe what we could also be seeing possibly, let me go ahead and get one of my tools to show you. I believe is the ghost feed, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Oh no, it's not ghost feed. I think it's a bar pattern that I'm looking for. So what I'm doing with this bar pattern is I'm copying it. You're going to go ahead and see what I'm going to do. So I'm going to go from the bottom to the top, which I would just say it's right here, and it copies it. So now Tristan and I were talking about this last week, and I'm like, maybe this is it. Maybe we see Bitcoin do a move like this, or maybe it's like this. What do you guys think? It looks almost very identical to what we saw right here before we had this breakout back in August of 2024 for Bitcoin. And it seems like we could possibly be doing a very similar thing. So I think we could probably be seeing more upside to Bitcoin. And then we're probably going to have that cool off period leading into July as usual. And then we have the market kind of cool down going into August, September, October. And then for me personally, I think that's going to be it for the market. I think leading into 2026, if we continue with this bullishness, I think probably like April, May of 2026 will be probably around the top of the market. I think that would be essentially the top of the market. So we still have a good time left of the market, personally, in my opinion. And that is just based off what I'm showing you. I don't know. I'm not a wizard. I'm not a fortune teller. I wish I was able to tell all of you guys, hey, go all in right now. This is the time to buy. I'm still staying outside of the market. I'm still, staying in stable coin liquidity pools. Personally, I think that's the best option right now. I took on a lot of risk. Once I do start to see this breakout, I don't mind taking on additional more risk just to go ahead and see this hopefully break through. But right now, I'm just being patient. I'm in no rush. I'm down still quite a bit, and I'm sure most of you guys are as well. So altcoins haven't really been reacting, and we probably won't be seeing that much of a reaction until we start to see this breakout with Bitcoin. But what do you guys think? Do you guys think this is what Bitcoin's going to be following? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and leave this like this. So that way, when we come back Thursday, when we're on the podcast with Tristan, we can go ahead and see if it followed this. But as I mentioned, there's more positive than negative. As much as I want to try to look for something negative, there's really nothing to go ahead and really look for. Like I said, there's more positive. NASDAQ's doing good. I mean, we really need to see that breakout essentially. So we do see that breakout, and that's confirmation. Bottom is in. That's it. The bottom is in. We're good to go. But NASDAQ is showing good signs. Gold is showing possibilities of a rejection. We're also seeing the dollar also possibly getting rejected. We'll see if we'll be able to. Worst case scenario, honestly, for the dollar too. Keep in mind that probably the dollar could go as high as 105. So don't be surprised if we do even see the dollar come up right here before getting rejected. Ideally, the perfect zone to get rejected will be right here. But it could also go as high as 105 before we start to see that rejection one more time. But I think there's more of a higher probability at the moment right now that we could be experiencing a rejection coming in for the dollar. Bitcoin's looking good. Let's go ahead and take a quick look into Ethereum. So I drew this. As you guys see, I like to draw a lot of my charts. But this is the Ethereum chart. And for all of you that might not know, I'm sure all of you should know by now, but Ethereum has been in this downtrend. So Ethereum's price area, in order for me to be bullish for Ethereum, and I think Ethereum's at a pretty good buy in my opinion, not financial advice. But I think for Ethereum, we definitely do want to go ahead and see that breakout past $2,200. Seeing that breakout past $2,200 could definitely go ahead and show some positive in the market. Now, us seeing that breakout to $2,200, I'm not going to fully confirm that this is the bottom. But ideally for me, my price target that I want to personally see Ethereum break above would be between this $3,200 range and $2,500. So ideally, this is the area that I want Ethereum to break past. And as you see, I did went ahead and put some little milestones together. These are the areas that we essentially want to go ahead and attack as time goes on. But for Ethereum right now, let's just keep it simple. I don't like to go ahead and overcomplicate things. Really, the price area we need to focus to is breaking above and holding $2,200. So that could be a little milestone you guys could go ahead and write down on a piece of paper. The next target would be between that $2,500 and $3,200. And I think once we start to see that $2,500 and $3,200, that's going to confirm, in my opinion, for me personally, that this is the downtrend's over. Now, a lot of people would assume that breaking past 32 or even breaking past 27 is already the downtrend's already over. But you got to keep in mind that Ethereum has been experiencing a lot of resistance between this $3,200 range. So this is the area that Ethereum has been struggling between $3,200 and this $3,800 range. So ideally, this is really where Ethereum is really struggling. So this is what we need to break. So what you're seeing for Bitcoin is $90,000. That's really the area that is struggling. Well, for Ethereum, 36 to 38 is the area that is struggling. Now, I'm not saying that once Ethereum starts hitting 25 and even the $3,000 range, once again, it's not going to look positive. I'm not saying that. But what I'm saying is that the ultimate resistance for Ethereum is right here. And then once we see this breakout on Ethereum right here, I think our next price target is going to be $5,000 for Ethereum. So very crazy price targets. I wouldn't really think they're that crazy. I think it's very, very doable. I think it's time for Ethereum to finally shine. We saw a lot of it coming in with Solana and a few other layer ones. But yeah, I think personally for me, Ethereum is going to be the one. Layer twos are going to be the one, in my opinion. That's why personally I like Base. I like Arbitrum. I'm being exposed to the Base chain right now. Hopefully Trump with his token also does a bridge for Base. I'm pretty sure they will. So hopefully we could also see some pretty good returns on that. But Ethereum is looking pretty good so far. $2,200 is the range that we really want to go ahead and break. And then I wanted to go ahead and show you one more thing before I let you guys go. But the thing I was going to go ahead and show you was SUI. So for SUI, and I want you guys to put this all into perspective, right? So for SUI, we talked about, you remember those key areas, right? We talked about July topping off last year, August, September, October, November being the bottom. And I say all those months because realistically, some tokens pumped before that and others didn't. And a perfect example of this is SUI. So if you actually go ahead and look at SUI right here, SUI in 2023 topped at around March when we started to see that top in Bitcoin. And one thing that I've noticed at one point, SUI was actually leading Bitcoin at one point in the market. Now it's not. But as you guys see right here, SUI bottomed out in August. So same thing that happened to Bitcoin in 2023, same thing that happened to Bitcoin in 2024. Will it happen in 2025? I don't know. Maybe third time is a charm, but so far we've already seen that August is usually the area a lot of assets start to bottom. Now, for SUI to bottom out right here, it would make sense. To be completely honest with you, I was hoping to see SUI at $1.70. That would be, in my opinion, like the best case scenario. The worst case scenario would be like $1. I think between these two areas would be a really good buying opportunity. Now, I'm kind of hoping we do see these areas. This is kind of the reason why I'm saying like I'm kind of hopeful like the market, this is not the actual bottom, because it would be nice to get this one last dip, right? But if not, that would mean that SUI is holding on pretty well. This is a pretty good support anyways. So if anything, SUI is looking pretty good. Ideally for SUI, I would want to go ahead and see a breakout coming in at around, there's really no resistance established. It's really difficult. I guess you could say resistance for SUI would be somewhere between right here. So I would say between this $2 to $3 range. So once we start to see SUI start to pick up, we want to go ahead and see that breakout towards that $3 range and then officially break this 350, 360. And this would essentially be a sign that, at least for me personally, right, you could consider $3 a sign of a downtrend being over. But I would consider this area between exactly $3 and, if you want to, 320 to be the official sign of a reversal, right? The downtrend is over. So it's signaling that the downtrend could be over as well. So there's a lot of good signs, as I mentioned. I just wanted to go ahead and put that into perspective of how a few asset classes have retraced during those zones. So just put that into consideration. We'll see how the market ends. It is Tuesday. Hopefully we can go ahead and end the week in a very positive note. Overall, for all of you that might not know, we do go live on Thursday as well. So go ahead and make sure to smash that like button, subscribe, turn on post notifications, comment down below as usual. But Thursday, I will be live streaming with Tristan. So I'm sure Tristan is gearing up some very juicy information for us for Thursday. And hopefully by Thursday, we have either these breakouts happening or two, we have even more positive data that could be telling us exactly where this market could be heading. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see a temporary relief. As I mentioned, maybe we pump until July, then we see July come down. August, September, October near the bottom, reverse October, November, and market flies to the moon. And that's what I'm hoping for. But I also would be hopeful and grateful if the market just moon like in the next coming weeks. That'd also be very nice. But regardless of the fact, like I said, a bottom seems to be near. So just hang on tight. Liquidity pools, stable coins, in my opinion, are the best option at the moment. Fortunately, guys, I do have to be ending the stream in about now. And the reason being is because I do have to go ahead and meet up with my private community. So we're going to be having that happening in a few minutes. So for all of you guys that are in the private community at Decentralized Masters, I will be having my office hours in a few minutes. So I'll be seeing you guys very shortly. But for all of you that are not in our private community, highly recommend go ahead and check those down below in the description. Become your own bank. And you can actually go ahead and get access to a free DeFi masterclass. Link down below in the description. With that being said, I hope all of you guys have a great rest of your day. Happy Tuesday. Great way to start the week. And hopefully we could also end it on a positive note. I'll see you guys all in my office hours for all those that are in our community. And for all those that are not, I'll see you guys on Thursday. Take care. Bye.